This video is sponsored by Incogni. More on them later in the video. Michael Keaton, Michael Keaton, Michael Keaton. I love this guy. I mean, who doesn't? He's a rare breed, an actor with a knack for improv who can flawlessly do comedy and drama, and I don't know, he just seems like a cool guy. Like he might come up to you on set and say something like, "Hey, how you doing, Michael? Hey, listen, hey, where's Crafty? Right, I'm hoping they got that trail mix, with the peanut M&Ms in it. You want something? You want a coffee? Water? I'll be right back."
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
He's one of those actors that's like, it's hard to single out one role of his. His career is like the Rumors Fleetwood Mac album, only he's his own love triangle. But for the sake of this video, I just want to dig into his performance as Beetlejuice, a personal favorite of his in terms of how wild and exploratory he could be. And at 74 years old, 36 years later, he's brought him back from the dead.
Now's my chance.
And it's a stacked cast, man. With some of the originals, you got Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, you've got newcomers Jenna Ortega, Justin Theroux, Monica Bellucci, and the Devil.
And plunges right through your gullet!
On a serious note, everyone, I just want to apologize right off the bat because I will be saying Beetlejuice multiple times in this video. I just said it again, and as we all know, if you say his name 3 times, he does appear. So hopefully by the end of the video, we'll have put him back. It's like counting the number of pen clicks of Boris's exploding pen in GoldenEye. Beetlejuice. He's here.
The juice is loose.
I'm gonna make you so happy.
But real quick, you ever been buzzing around minding your own business when you get some weird spam call or email and
Hey, you. Hey, come here.
before you know it, you're being dragged into the underworld by a trickster poltergeist?
Help me. Help me.
Well, that's because thousands of companies are collecting, aggregating, and trading your personal data without you knowing about it. So you could contact each data broker and request them to delete your information, but that would take years to do. This is where Incogni comes in and does all the work for you. Incogni helps you protect your privacy and take your personal data off the market by reaching out to data brokers on your behalf, requesting your personal data removal, and dealing with their objections. Now, I kind of always assumed that my name and email address might be floating around out there, but what I didn't know is that it can go as far as your employment history, shopping habits, and even your social security number. Years ago, I was signing up for health insurance through the government, and midway through it, I realized that it wasn't a .gov website. Almost immediately, I was getting spam calls, which I never got before all this. My writing partner Kenny also got when someone pretending to be his bank called and said his credit card info had been taken. It was just a complete mess, and they ended up getting access to his bank account. So when I signed up for Incogni and checked out their dashboard, I saw my info being used by 153 data brokers. And within 5 minutes, Incogni scrubbed my info from almost 100 of them. Thankfully, with their annual subscription, they will consistently monitor and make sure my info doesn't end up back in the hands of these companies because they continually send requests on my behalf. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code TheBackFocus when you visit incogni.com/TheBackFocus and get 60% off an annual plan. Once again, that's code TheBackFocus when you visit incogni.com/TheBackFocus and get 60% off an annual plan. A little background on our boy Keaton here. For those of you who don't know, he got his start in Pittsburgh, and one of his first jobs was as a crew member and occasional actor on Mr. Rodgers' Neighborhood. He would help break down the set and even ran the trolley. And as Mr. McFeely actor David Newell put it, Fred Rodgers was one of the first people to really notice Michael's talent.
He said, "I'll tell you something, that Michael Keaton is going to be a star." And he saw that. Fred could tell that this guy had it to be a movie actor, a star.
While he was working for Rodgers, he did stand-up.
My sister had this wind down. My mother would have to say the slightest little thing, she'd go into her reaction, which would be, "Don't you think that skirt's a little short?"
After expressing to David Newell that he'd like to be an actor, David recommended that he check out his friend's summer theater and get started. 4 years later, Keaton was in LA and got a big break on a sitcom.
I just heard you were having your first big press conference today. Some heavy stuff, right? You need a few opening jokes. I'm your man. Listen, I'm leaving now, but I just want you kids to know that you're beautiful people. And I really mean that. From the bottom of my heart. Hasta la vista, huh? That's Spanish for ciao.
Comedy continued to be Keaton's strong suit, especially improv.
All right, I'll improvise. Okay, all right. All right, wait.
Yeah, you work on that, man.
His first major film, Night Shift, had a lot of it.
I'm sorry, I must have my money at home. In my other pants, I think. There you go. $4.90 or $5. Keep a dime, it's all right. Take it easy. Come on.
As Bill Blaze Jowski, a manic, hustling guy who convinces his friend to use their morgue as a headquarters, it's an organization for ladies of the night.
You know, a lot of times it'll help you to understand a word if you break it down, so let's do that now, shall we? Pros doesn't mean anything. Forget about that. Tit, I think we all know what that means.
Keaton's loose, fun energy and talent for ad-libbing was perfect for the role.
You don't care about what happens to Belinda. You don't care about what happens to the Girl Scouts of America. America? I'm fed up, man. I'm fed up with you. I wash my hands and my feet of you. Trim that.
Later in his career, Keaton did even more improv in the comedy The Other Guys as police captain Gene Mauch.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Was that accidental, or were you trying to quote TLC on purpose?
I don't even understand the reference.
You don't understand what you said?
I don't know what that is. Get out. Go.
Who has a second job at Bed Bath & Beyond.
The new bath mats are here. One more thing. We got a serial rapist in Crown Heights. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. That's from my other job. Ignore that. Forget that. Well, don't ignore it. If you live in Crown Heights, walk in pairs.
I love the outtakes of this movie where you can clearly see Keaton just trying stuff out during his morning meeting with the employees.
Please, stop talking about your near-death experience on the Staten Island ferry, okay? That white light, that just scares people. That's not what the beyond means. We're talking about bed, bath, beyond, like down the hallway in the utility closet, not like in other lands, not like in the afterlife.
So back to the early 80s, Keaton continued making a name for himself as a comedic actor. You got Night Shift, was great, and then he just exploded after Mr. Mom.
I'll trade you my kid for yours.
Thank you.
Eventually, director Tim Burton wanted to meet with him to discuss a script that he wanted to direct, Beetlejuice. In multiple interviews, Keaton recalls these initial meetings with Burton as kind of, a little confusing, if I'm being honest.
I didn't understand what he was talking about. Really? I had no idea what he was talking about, but I liked him. Yes. I went, wow, this guy's something. As I said, I wish I could do it. You seem like a really nice guy, and I know you're creative, but I don't know what I don't get it.
Eventually, Burton told Keaton something about the character of Beetlejuice that stuck with him, that he's a man who exists out of time and space. That got the wheels turning, and Keaton took a night and played around with it.
And then I thought of an idea of teeth, and I thought of an idea of a walk, and I knew it had to be energy. And then I said, I don't know. And I called him and said, I got an idea, and I don't know if it's going to work or not, so let's just go do this thing.
It's always interesting hearing how actors create a memorable character.
It's showtime.
You get to learn exactly why a character moves or talks a certain way, what informs their behavior. What's pretty funny about Beetlejuice is that there kind of wasn't a reason for any of it. It all just came from this gut feeling from Michael where, he just thought it was funny.
The walk, I don't know. I just wanted to do a dumb walk. I just felt like doing a silly walk. And he had the stripe thing and the pale in the eyes and the voice, I have no idea. I mean, when I think about it, I think there was something seriously wrong with me. Because I swear to God, I thought, I know what I thought. I just thought, this would be funny. Yeah. And then I said, his nose is probably broken. He's got these horrible teeth. And I liked his irreverence and his subversion, and just, I just liked it. It's an excuse to go nuts.
And then, and this part to me just sounds insane, Burton hired him. They didn't do a screen test or try anything out ahead of time. Like, that was it. First day of shooting, and Keaton just strolls onto the set in the striped suit and the hair and everything, and he thought...
I showed up on the set, and I took off, and I kind of did a symbolic or a metaphoric kind of, is everybody with me here? And nobody went, stop doing that, Mike. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna keep going like this. So I just kept going, and you hope that in the end, you don't
look at it and say, well, I certainly chose the wrong road there. The character keeps his pitch, you know, once you get inside him, he runs you, you know, and then he starts to talk, speak. And so, you know, it's almost not not really your choice anymore. Just give it up.
Another big influence on the character of Beetlejuice was 3-time Oscar-winning makeup artist V. Neal. I mean, we talked about her genius already in our Pam Ferris video. One of her Oscars is from her work on Beetlejuice. Michael collaborated with her, giving her a background of the character, which then informed her creative decisions as a makeup artist.
I want hair that looks like I stuck my phone in an electrical outlet. And in the great V. Neal, the wardrobe, I said, I want mold, because Tim said he lives like under rocks and stuff. I said, I want mold somewhere.
Undoubtedly, the amazing makeup job helped Keaton even further. You know, something that keeps coming up when I look up these old Beetlejuice interviews and clips is how collaborative this whole process was, and how one idea from Keaton could get Burton excited about something visually. And it was like this feedback loop of creativity.
You bunch of losers! You're working with a professional here! Nice fucking model!
What also made the production very freeing was that, according to Burton, they didn't have any studio execs breathing down their neck telling them what to do.
It was so weird, I didn't get a lot of notes because they didn't know what to say about it.
By the time everything wrapped, Keaton estimates that about 90% of his lines were improvised.
Oh, come on, don't go yet. Hey, guy, come on. We're simpatico here. Look at us. Huh? We even shop in the same store. Hey, hermano. Yeah, there you go.
Another thing about Beetlejuice is how odd the script was. Like, it didn't follow the normal beats of a story, which is something that Burton liked about it.
It was the exact opposite of everything else I'd gotten. You know, most of these scripts were like, you know, A to B to C, all tied up in a neat little packet. Then I get this script that makes no sense, it has no real story.
Having actors with improv experience, like Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, Second City alum Glenn Shaddix, was also beneficial in finding those weird gaps in the story and making something work.
I worked with a lot of great actors that were very good at improv. You're on the set and get into a character and become it. Boy, there's amazing energy to that. It helped the script, it helped shape it a lot. And each day we felt like we were making this weird kind of experimental kind of thing in a way, and it was a Hollywood movie.
Years would pass after Beetlejuice became a hit, and Keaton and Burton would privately share their thoughts with each other, you know, revisiting the idea of a sequel.
That is why I won't do 2 shows a night anymore, babe. I won't.
At one point, there was a potential sequel floating around in which the Dietz family travels to Hawaii to develop a resort, but they enlist the help of Beetlejuice when they find out that the resort is planned on top of an ancient burial ground. It was, of course, called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
To which I was like, really, didn't we say all we needed to say with the first Beetlejuice? Must we go tropical?
There are apparently versions of this script floating around online, and it is truly an unhinged, nightmarish mess. But in a good way, in a way that I would have loved to see it. And there might even be pieces of this unmade script in the new Beetlejuice film, like especially parts exploring more of the bureaucracy of the underworld.
Here it is. There you go. I'm telling you, honey, she meant nothing to me. Nothing at all.
Over the years, as Keaton and Burton would revisit the idea of a sequel, they agreed on a few rules that would dictate whether or not they would want to do it. Number 1 was don't move forward unless it had a solid script, which makes sense. Number 2, keep the effects as practical as possible. Because, hey, everybody likes hanging out with each other on set, you know? We don't want to have full conversations with little dots and tennis balls, and also that stop motion feel, there's a nostalgic element to it. It just feels like Tim Burton's signature. And number 3, keep the screen time of Beetlejuice to a minimum. That last one was something that I was concerned about, but it actually goes to show you how deeply they thought about all this.
If I'm in it maybe a minute longer than I was, that's it. If I'm in less, In other words, I'm only in the first one for like, I don't know, 12 minutes or something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in it for a very short time. I said, we can't like do more.
I mean, look, it's 36 years later. This movie was not made impulsively, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be more screen time for Beetlejuice. I mean, this is such an iconic character, I feel like people would just want to see more of him. He was in about 17 minutes of the original 92-minute movie. That's like 18% of the running time. And the movie was named after him. So my theory is that because the sequel is called Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, his screen time will be doubled to a whopping 34 minutes. I don't know, is that too much juice? I don't know. Also, just as a side note, there's something weird going on with these thumbnails for Beetlejuice 2 videos. It's a lot of weird, creepy AI-generated stuff between Beetlejuice and Jenna Ortega. I don't know, I feel like I'm getting put on some FBI list just looking at these. Having said that, this inspired me to write a prompt so AI could write a song for me about Beetlejuice and actress Jenna Ortega falling in love.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Jenna's delight. They dance through the afterlife, holding on tight. From the chaos and madness, their love would bloom. In a haunted house, they build a home.
Now, I'll be the first to say I haven't really enjoyed anything Burton's done for a minute. I think the last movie I really dug of his was Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, but half of that is just I love musicals, and his style really suited the material. I will say that whether or not this movie is any good, one thing I'm confident about is that Michael Keaton will at least be good in it. And that's enough for me to at least check it out. He's been consistently funny for years, from his big break in Night Shift to a heavy improv comedy like the other guys, like he's still got it. I also trust that he and Tim Burton have such a shorthand, close working relationship. You know, how they just top one another when it comes to exploring ideas, and in the end, that's always something to be celebrated. Taking big swings at something creatively and just seeing what happens.
This was the first time there was almost no pulling back. He would sometimes say more and more. And, you know, I'll go forever if you give me more and more. And I definitely have a filtering system, you know, but it didn't seem like it was necessary for this character. Yeah, it's definitely trusting a director, though. I didn't even care about him pulling me back. I just listened to what he was saying and why he was saying, yeah, that's a good idea.
Alrighty, that about wraps up this video. Let me just check the Beetlejuice counter here. Command F. We're at 24, so that means 3 plus 3 divided by pi. You can carry the decimal with the power of a circumference of a 4.2 diameter cylinder. Subtract the square root. 24 Beetlejuices. At 25 now, which means Beetlejuice, 26. He is put away with one in the chamber, all ready to bring him back, so just don't say Beetlejuice again. God damn it! As always, a special thank you and shout out to all of our awesome patrons over at Patreon. If you want to help contribute to our channel, please go to patreon.com/thebackfocus. Plus, make sure to check out Incogni and to use the code TheBackFocus to get 60% off an annual plan. And to close this video out, let's just revisit that lovely ditty about BJ and Jenna Ortega with crappy grok-generated AI images of the couple. Happy Halloween?
In a world of shadows where the strange is the norm, there's a ghost named Beetlejuice who can stir up a storm. But one day he saw her, a star shining bright, Jenna Ortega in the dark of the night. He said her name 3 times with a wink and a grin. She rolled her eyes but couldn't help but give in. Who knew a ghost and a girl from the screen would write a love story like no one had seen? Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Jenna's delight. They dance through the afterlife, holding on tight. From the chaos and madness, their love would bloom. In a haunted house, they build a home. They tied the knot in a graveyard so grand, with a ghostly band and a skeleton hand. Their vows were strange, but love made them true. In a world full of spooks, it was just me and you. Their love grew stronger as years passed by. Through laughter and chills, they reached for the sky. And then came a baby, a bundle of fright. a little ghoul with a smile so bright. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Jenna's delight. They dance through the afterlife, holding on tight. From the chaos and madness, their love would bloom. In a haunted house, they build a home. Through the sands of time, they stayed side by side. Through laughter and chills, they reached for the sky. And then came a baby, a bundle of fright, a little ghoul with a smile so bright. Through the sands of time, they stayed side by side. Even as the world of the living passed by, they aged like fine wine in their spooky domain, still holding hands in both joy and in pain. Now they're old and gray, but their spirits still soar. In their haunted mansions, they'll dance forevermore. Their child's all grown with a mischief-filled grin, a perfect blend of the chaos within. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Jenna's delight. They dance through the afterlife, holding on tight. From the chaos and madness, their love would bloom. In a haunted house, they build a home. So here's to the couple, so wild and so strange, in a world where the weirdest can make such a change. Beetlejuice and Jenna, forever in tune, dancing together under a haunted moon.